I'm Joe, aka Mr. Fragrance, and it is a freezing day here in Scotland. So I've turned on the heating and I've started recording a video. This is a tag video by Smelly Sweet, and I look forward to doing 3 fragrances and 3 facts about them. So I've got to find 3 people to tag, and it's always a little bit difficult because I don't want to overload people with tags. I know that at times I've tagged people and I think that tag videos are great and I like being tagged in them, but not everyone loves getting tagged, especially not if they're getting tagged about 10 times a month. So I'm going to tag one person. The first person I'm going to tag is someone that I've recently discovered, and his name is Heart Notes TV. So I'm going to tag him, as well as a lady called Chantel Tiffany. Now, she's always really active in the comment section, and it's always nice to have comments from her. So I'm going to tag her so I can see some feminine fragrances and some facts about them as well, because I really am needing to learn a little bit more about those. And then my third and final is another lady. I've tagged her a couple of times and she's tagged me a couple of times, but I would like to see her do this because I know that she's quite invested in her facts, and she's quite obviously very invested in fragrances. And she has a lot of history in working with fragrances, or at least working in the beauty industry. So I think it'd be interesting to hear from Gabby, the fragrantician. So those are 3 people I'm going to be tagging. Their links will be down in the description below. Let's get on with the video. So I'm going to start off with one, and I'm going to start off with the fact that I've actually already mentioned on the channel. So if you have already seen this, feel free to skip to the next fragrance, and I'll put them all in a little time barrier at the bottom of the video. So this is the first one. And this is 1 Million Parfum. What a cracking fragrance this is. I absolutely love this fragrance. In fact, it's just such a beautiful fragrance. It's great for kind of youth as well, but it does lend itself to this one in particular. Compared to the 1 Million, this lends itself to people with a bit more developed nose, as it's got a little bit more intricacy to it. Yeah, it's very different. It's not very different, it's different though to 1 Million. 1 Million is quite easygoing, it's quite sweet, it's very sweet. And it's a fragrance that everyone loves, but it really suits the younger people just because of, how kind of easygoing it is. But this will really lend itself well to those who are kind of looking for a fragrance addition to their fragrance collection that's, again, a little bit more different. It's got a lovely leatheriness to it and a touch of floral, which is very odd in this fragrance. Something that I've only just started to recognise recently. It's a greenish floral scent, but it's got this saltiness, which is crazy. You don't think you can smell salt, but it's that kind of thing where you associate a taste with a smell and a smell with a taste. You're kind of getting that coming through with the saltiness, and that leads on to the fact with this fragrance, one that I've already mentioned before, as I've said. This fragrance, as far as we know, as a quote from the perfumer, he discovered this when he was on holiday, and a bottle of Cistus broke in his bag and a bottle of sun cream in his bag. This was a leather bag as well, so you need to remember that because obviously there's a lot of leather in this. So again, this story could have easily been twisted by himself to try and make it some sort of like amazing stories how this was accidentally created, so I can't guarantee it's fact, but this is what the perfumer said. So yeah, bottle of Cistus, bottle of sun cream, broke in his leather bag. He was coming from a very lovely beach, salty sea holiday. See where this is going, possibly? So yeah, and then this was created. So he decided that he loved the smell. He thought it went really, really well. And yeah, he thought, you know what? That smells like a fragrance that I'm going to create called 1 Million Parfum. So that's exactly how the story went, and that's exactly how this fragrance was made. I'm joking, who knows? But that is what he said. And that is this fact for this fragrance. 1 Million Parfum by Paco Rabanne. And next up, well, I just did 1 Million Parfum, so why not do 1 Million Lucky? This is 1 Million Lucky by Paco Rabanne. Again, a really nice fragrance. I've done a brief first impression on it, but still looking to do a review on it. I really like this fragrance. I think it's still quite youthful, it's quite fruity, a little bit more fruity than your original Paco Rabanne 1 Millions or your 1 Million Parfum. So yeah, 1 Million Lucky, I've always described it, at least when I've smelt it and then described it to family, I've described it as smelling like the kind of the baking cake, the kids like bake a cake recipes that come with all the ingredients, and that icing, it smells really like that icing. It's very sweet, very synthetic. But my fact to go with this is that wherever you look, the note breakdown has ozonic notes included in it. Now, ozonic notes, you may have seen that, you may not have seen that. I wouldn't be surprised if you haven't seen that. Not many fragrances are described to have ozonic notes. In fact, I'll tell you, I think unless you say go into Fragrantica and look through their ozonic note fragrances, I think you'll struggle to find one other than Lucky that has ozonic notes. There are obviously fragrances with ozonic notes. But now into what an ozonic note is. Well, the way that Fragrantica call it, or describe it, sorry, is natural and synthetic, popular and weird. And that's as far as they're willing to go. Ozonic, obviously you would associate with the sky, to do with the ozone layer, scientifically anyway, and the sun. So it could easily be perceived as a fresh, kind of uplifting note. But I was just miffed by this when I first discovered ozonic notes, and that's why I'm talking about it. This is a crazy sort of way of describing a particular accord. No one really knows what it is. This is so mysterious. It's so unheard of. It's a very, very interesting thing that I think it would be good to look into. And the way that they've described this odor profile is a fresh fantasy accord. But I don't think you could ask someone that knows a lot about fragrances and they would know, and they'd be able to tell you what an ozonic note is. So yeah, there you go. A fresh fantasy accord. Natural, synthetic, popular, weird. There you go. And finally, another designer, another really popular designer of fragrance I've talked about quite a lot. A fragrance that is still talked about quite a lot online. This is Boss Bottled Intense Eau de Parfum. Always been one of my favourite perfumes, fragrances, whatever. Still is. Absolutely love this. I really love this, and put that on now. It really is great. I mean, I'm wearing a scarf inside because it's bloody freezing. Just put the heating on in here and it's absolutely Baltic. What a fragrance this is. And the reason I'm talking about this one is because it's got a really interesting comparison to the Eau de Toilette version of this fragrance, just Hugo Boss bottled. And that fragrance is perfectly nice smelling, perfectly great, really kind of fresh-ish smelling, apple, cinnamon, uplifting, masculine, wear it in a suit to an office, that kind of thing. But Hugo Boss Bottled Intense, a little bit more intricate, a little bit different, a little bit deeper, a little bit more earthy. It's certainly got a little bit more depth to it, as I've already said. You know, it's quite deep. And when I say deep, what I mean is, it's got like a wider profile. It's more versatile. It could be described as fresh, whilst definitely being worn in the winter times. It's 100% a fragrance to be worn as your as your signature scent. That's what this would work as. But my fact about this includes the comparison between this and the Boss Bottled Eau de Toilette version. Now this is Eau de Parfum, and then obviously Eau de Toilette, and Eau de Parfum is a stronger concentration than Eau de Toilette. This Eau de Parfum for perfume, Hugo Boss released, is 14% stronger in oil concentration than the Eau de Toilette perfume. Now that's huge, that's massive. And for them to have released that was quite interesting. And so for those of you that didn't know that, and look for something that's going to last a bit longer, is going to be more powerful, then this is going to be the fragrance for you. This is stronger than the Eau de Toilette version for sure. It is stronger than just Boss Bottled, but this is a huge difference in concentration. Now we still don't know what the official concentration is for this, and by that we also don't know what the official concentration of the Eau de Toilette is, because you could work that out. So we don't know what the actual percentage of concentration is, but what we do know is that this is 14% greater. So that's another interesting fact about this fragrance. There's so much to say about this fragrance, but for now I've given you a fact on each of these three, and yeah, there you go. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you to Mr. Smelly Swede for tagging me in this video, and yeah, thank you very much, and I'll see you next time on Mr. Fragrance.